And now for something a little bit different. So I was posting some stuff on my Instagram, which is private pretty much. I don't have YouTube people on there anymore. And I don't know, I was talking about some stuff that I thought maybe other people who follow my channel might be interested in. A lot of movie talk centered around this film, Wolves, Pigs, and Men, directed by Kinji Fukusaku, 1964, starring Ken Takakura. This is a new Eureka Blu-ray, which I will be talking about and reviewing very soon. But I just thought I don't know, maybe it'd just be nice to just jump on with a really, bare bones, rough and ready style video, just to talk about some stuff. Man, this film was incredible. I really had low expectations, to be completely honest with you, and I've talked about this in the past, how Yakuza films are not my forte. I'm not the biggest fan of them. I think this film might have just made me a fan of Yakuza films, but it's more than that, and it feels a bit like it feels kind of American in a way, a Western. There's like a bit of a film noir kind of feel to some of it, but it just, I don't know, the kind of a pot boiler kind of story. It's, man, so much to say about it, and I will be diving into it fuller at a later date. But what I love about films, and this is really emblematic of that, I mean, it's a character study, really. It's a brutal character study. What I love about films is just the way it makes you think about people and about yourself and your own morals. And this is a film that's all about morality. It's about these three brothers who grew up in the slums. Ken Takakura plays the middle brother, who is a guy who's trying to kind of make it through kind of petty crime. His older brother left the slums and is kind of making a name for himself in kind of like organized crime and stuff, and he's doing very well for himself. And the younger brother stayed back in the slums with their mother, who passed away. And there's a big sting operation, and the youngest brother takes 40 million yen worth of drugs and money and hides it. And so his older brother, Ken Takakura, now has to get that information out of him by any means necessary, because he wants that money to change his own life. And the younger brother, he has a group of friends, and they're going to get tortured unless he gives away the information of where this money is. And so for this younger brother, it becomes, how far are you willing to go to protect the people that you love? Because if he tells his friends where the money is, then they're going to be, just as much of a target as he is. For Ken Takakura, it's how far are you willing to go to get that money that will change your life, even at the cost of hurting your own family, physically and mentally. And then for the older brother, it then becomes about how far are you willing to go to keep your status, even if it means throwing your family under the bus, and perhaps without getting your own hands dirty, being responsible for the death of your brothers. It's so interesting. And it just, I was saying on my Instagram post that, obviously I don't relate to the idea of like, oh, would I be willing to physically harm members of my family for money? Because that it just seems unthinkable to me. But it just makes you think about people in these kinds of situations where they have nothing, they grow up with nothing, and you just see these people who do the craziest things. You think, how could you possibly do something like that? How could you be so violent or unashamed of your actions? And it comes from stuff like this. I mean, the area in the movie where they grew up, it's they call it a pigsty. It's dirty, and it feels like a tip. I guess that's where the title comes from: wolves, pigs, and men. But are the men really men? And it's really just a fascinating character study, and I really love the three main performances from the brothers. But I just love it when films can kind of turn the dial up to 11 on something that obviously is not an experience that most people are going to go through, but it frames it through, again, an extreme lens that makes you think about your own moral compass and where you'd sit on something like this. And you follow a character, and a guy like Ken Takakura in this character, and he's not really a good person, but he's also like Ken Takakura, who's like the king of cool, and he's the protagonist of the film in some ways, and you kind of want to see him get away with the money, but at the same time, it's I found myself wondering, has he gone too far? Many times. But the film just manages to really expertly go through all of those different scenarios of just testing these characters to a breaking point, and then you got to kind of wonder, how can any of them get out of this unscathed? And boy, the last 5 minutes were fucking incredible. This is just a great film. I'd never heard of it before. This is what I love about releases like this from companies like Eureka. Just things that were not on my radar at all, and I've come away just, with this for me is like definitely a film I want to watch again and again. It's like 95 minutes is where it breezes by, but most of it takes place in in the slum areas in this building where they kind of hold up, kind of trying to decide what to do. Oh man, it's great. And the transfer is gorgeous as well. Just pausing it on this, just seeing all the grain and stuff, it's that's something I'm also kind of like appreciative of in today's kind of AI DNR upscaled world. It's nice just to see a good old fashioned proper black and white, grainy, just texture filled film. And I can't wait to dive into the extras on this one. To kind of listen to I think Jasper Sharp does a commentary on this, but yeah, it's just a great late night with a movie, and it's not often I get that kind of spirited away with the plot of a story where I'm just like, figuratively on the edge of my seat. But it was tense going, and it is a brutal film as well. It's not super extreme, but it's I'm surprised they got a 15 rating because it's quite distressing with some of the torture sequences, and I just really was surprised by how it ended up playing out. I might have to do a big spoiler section in my review of this because I just want to talk about the ending and how impactful it is. And yeah, oh man, this is just, it's why I love films. It's why I love visual storytelling, because there's different perspectives in this, and it just makes you think. It makes me think. Again, even though this is a situation I'm never going to be in, it's not a one-to-one relatability factor. It's just this, I don't know, again, how far would you go? I think that's a very kind of, that in itself is a relatable question to ask an audience. How far would you be willing to go in this circumstance, And we all have an answer to that, or at least a feeling. And this one, I know what the answer is, of course. The answer is I probably would do everything I could to protect the people I love. I'd probably do everything I could to, to make sure that I wouldn't be responsible for any of my loved ones being in pain. And I definitely wouldn't be willing to go far to hurt my family for the sake of money. But then I've never felt as desperate as someone like Ken Takakura, right? Or have had a life as hard as that. And then the older brother, I think his perspective in the third act of the film becomes a bit more pronounced and really ties the whole story together, I think, in terms of how far would you be willing to go to step on, all the people that you grew up with, your family, for status and, comfort, I suppose, and promise of more. And that one is probably the least kind of, I couldn't even wrap my head around that, to be honest. But at its core, it's just a fucking great character study, drama, thriller in a sense almost, but a great a violent crime drama. Absolutely fantastic. I love this film. Um, I don't want to use the M word. I'm not going to use the M word, but it is a film that, and I'm sorry if I'm not framing the TV properly on my phone. I just thought it'd be interesting to do a quick video I can just throw up instantly with no real frills or anything. And if anyone likes this, maybe I can do more of it. But I was doing it on Instagram. I just thought, well, maybe this would go up on the channel. So, Wolves, Pigs, and Men. I absolutely loved this film. Just great stuff. And again, it's what I love about films is thought-provoking stories. And I also like it when there's kind of maybe like one main location. It very much reminds you of Reservoir Dogs now that I think about it. And there is also a big theme of betrayal and who can you trust and everything. That runs deep through the film too. So yeah, there's definitely elements of Reservoir Dogs in there to make it kind of easy analog to people who have probably never heard of this film, myself included, before I watched the damn thing. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.